Hello, I'm Anna Armbruster, medical doctor and psychotherapist, and I present you now my research thesis on energy processes in personality dynamics. This research explores personality dynamics by drawing parallels with fundamental physical and chemical energy processes. It focuses on how energy underlines individualization, socialization, cognitive functions, personal growth, and transpersonal interactions. These insights have contributed to the development of the new approach, energy-oriented psychotherapy. Now I will present you my thesis. My professional journey began with a specialization in mental and speech therapy in 1993, followed by a degree in medicine and then in clinical psychotherapy. The foundation of this thesis is rooted in preliminary research initiated in 2019. This thesis proposes a novel theoretical framework for psychotherapy, positing an objective, energy-based approach that extends beyond neuroscience, encompassing the fundamental atomic and electromagnetic processes. The present study proposes the implementation of novel terminology within the domain of psychotherapy, with the introduction of terms derived from physics, to facilitate a more objective depiction of psychological and mental dynamics. Viewing personality dynamics as energy processes enhances psychotherapy's precision. Understanding energy patterns helps therapists identify core issues and tailor treatment more effectively. The development of the new psychotherapy philosophy and approach has been facilitated by current research, which is based on theoretical frameworks, qualitative approaches, and literature reviews. This study applies grounded theory, the fractal principle, and an outside-in paradigm to investigate psychological energy processes. The utilization of constant comparison and the creation of categories are integral components of the comprehensive, context-based theory that aims to enhance the new comprehension of mental health and psychotherapy. Modern psychotherapy still often relies on the therapist's intuition and years of experience. The purpose of this thesis is to clarify and enlighten the processes of psychotherapy using a clear, visual, detailed, and transparent framework. Thesis uses the knowledge of known electromagnetic interactions to explain and illustrate the processes of personality dynamics. For this purpose, we investigate and compare processes on atomic, electromagnetic, and personal dynamics levels. Human psyche has the same attributes of energy as any other wave and matter. There is a potential difference, which in psychological terms can be seen as a duality or split, starting a spark of a flow. Then a charge, literally an emotional charge, a voltage, which can be experienced as stress or motivation, and current flow, that is psycho-emosomatic dynamics, and of course a load, that the result of all the above processes, in other words, behavior. This research unifies processes from different fields into a single framework, making them easier to understand through simple diagrams. Personality dynamics mirror universal energy patterns. This thesis presents schematic models of personality dynamics in a diagram of two-dimensional energy cycles, illustrating how energy moves across psycho-emosomatic levels, which are in constant interaction. The conditional starting point of those models is the body. Without the physical body, emotional and cognitive processes cannot occur, same as no energy flows in circuit without a conductor. Thus, the body is the core of all personality energy processes. Similar to the mechanisms of electromagnetic interaction in an electrical circuit, the human body detects and responds to potential differences, such as a change in temperature, sound, light, pressure, or electrical charge, through its sensory system and neural networks. Once sensory input is interpreted by the peripheral nervous system, it contributes to feelings, which are subjective experiences processed in the insular and prefrontal cortex. If stimuli are strong, the limbic system, especially the amygdala, generates emotions. These responses influence cognition, thinking, reasoning, and decision-making, linked to the prefrontal cortex. The brain then translates this energy into suitable behavior via voluntary movement, motor cortex, or involuntary responses, autonomic nervous system. The next level of complexity in understanding personality dynamics as energy processes can be seen in terms of circuit design functionality, where body provides a conductive material for the current to flow. Feelings are analogous to voltage and designed to force and empower the flow. Emotions can be understood as a charge which ignites some mental activity. The third level of understanding personality dynamics as energy processes is giving a more detailed view. This can be best illustrated by the example of circuit design elements and their functionality. Body. As discussed in the thesis, the body exhibits characteristics of transformer and an inverter when viewed through the lens of circuit design. The function of an inverter is to convert direct current, DC, into alternating current, AC. The human body is capable of converting direct current, DC, into alternating current, AC, through a series of physiological processes involving the ingestion of food, respiration, and the absorption and transformation of other external resources like light, warmth, minerals, etc. Feelings. When the body has experienced a stimulus, potential difference works as an electric spark between the present state and the new condition brought by the stimuli. The energy flow is conducted through neural paths, and the neural system sends the signals to relevant areas, informing about the impact, causing psychoemosomatic processes to experience feelings. In electronics, the analogous to this process would be a function of current sensing relays to signal the presence of high currents, identify low currents, and sense the current in order to feed it to a programmable logic controller, PLC. Emotions. Feelings in the body can be compared to voltage, energy stored and ready to act. If feelings are reactions to stimuli, emotions are responses and reflection of those feelings. Emotions function as a comparator circuit by comparing incoming sensory signals, stimuli, to an internal emotional baseline. When a significant difference is detected, the brain triggers an emotional response, for example, fear or joy. adjusting the body's physiological state through the autonomic nervous system to appropriate behavior or reaction. Emotions are processed in the body in a similar way as a Schmidt trigger circuit in electronics. It only responds when input passes a certain threshold. It keeps its output stable until a clear change happens due to a mechanism called hysteresis. It's a lag between input and output. In personal dynamics, emotional outbursts like hysteria can occur when a personal threshold is crossed, releasing stored emotional charge. This mirrors a Schmidt trigger circuit, which resists change until input passes a set threshold, then suddenly switches output. The analogy illustrates how the brain delays reactions under stress, responding only when pressure exceeds a critical point. Cognitions. Cognition play a key regulatory role in personality dynamics. It helps manage emotional responses triggered by deeper feelings, maintaining psychological stability under stress or low energy. This regulation is similar to how a microcontroller governs electrical systems. A microcontroller includes a processor, memory, and input-output components to control specific tasks. Modern microcontrollers use analog to digital converters to transform analog signals into digital data for processing. Conversely, digital to analog converts digital signals into analog forms, such as audio or visual waves. Based on that, human thought can be viewed as both wave and particle. Internally, thoughts flow like waves, continuous and unspoken. When externalized in speech or writing, they become discrete units, like particles. Analogous to any other energy flow, thoughts can affect other people, depending on their intensity and context, reinforcing the idea that cognitive expression has the potential to interact with and impact the environment and carries real, measurable influence. Behavior. An electrical load is any device that uses electricity to produce motion, heat, sound, or light. For example, a bulb emits light when connected to power. Similarly, in personality dynamics, the human body functions as an energy source, producing the current, while behavior of the body acts as a load, using energy to generate movements or express emotion. Same as in circuits, behavior can be active, suppressed, or stored for later use. Field. Given that the field is an objective and fundamental property of matter, it is logical to conclude that personal dynamics have a force field of their own, analogous to any other matter. In a nutshell, an electric field is the radiation of a charge, and a magnetic field is the radiation of a moving charge, either a particle or a wave. Charge can move between objects during the interaction due to the forces at a distance, like electric and magnetic fields. This notion suggests that a charge can be moved between individuals, and it can be induced. Inductive reasoning, role induction, inductive disorders are well-known phenomena in psychology and psychiatry. Electromagnetic analogy in mental health dynamics. Mental health can be modeled using concept of electricity and Ohm's law, voltage, current, and resistance, with charge representing emotional, psychological energy. In physics, charge drives current. In psychology, it parallels emotional intensity. Like static build-up, unexpressed emotions, stress, or unmet needs can lead to sudden outburst or chronic tension. Just as circuits need grounding, personalities require boundaries and regulation to avoid short-circuiting. Voltage reflects will, drive, or emotional pressure, ranging from joy to apathy or depression. Current is the flow of thoughts, feelings, and actions. Balanced flow supports mental clarity. Disrupted flow may cause anxiety, indecision, or dissociation. Resistance protects against overload by limiting, stopping, minimizing. Healthy resistance regulates emotions. Too much resistance leads to numbness or burnout. Mental health is the energy balance. In energy-oriented approach, it is a state of energy flow where current moves freely in a desired direction. The voltage is regulated and the resistance is adapted in order for the task to be accomplished. Healthy individualization, the charge separation process. In electricity, the separation of charge process can lead to productive energy, for example, powering up a device. The charge separation occurs when positive and negative charges are displaced, creating a potential difference that can lead to a flow of current. The psychological meaning of separation works the same way. The interaction of positive and negative charge can be compared to how unresolved conflicts between people can create tension and confrontation. The resolution of psychological tension can lead to personal growth and stronger relationships. Healthy personality development requires the charge separation to support autonomy and self-regulation of a growing up individual. In schema therapy, the healthy adult aligns with Rogers and Maslow's models of maturity and self-actualization. The process of healthy individualization mirrors charge separation in physics. First, it begins with a symbiotic, blended mother-child bond, acting like primary and secondary coils in a transformer, where the child circuit is totally dependent on the energy flow in the mother's circuit. Second step, boundaries. They form gradually, building resistance and independence. Third step, the child is learning to store internal energy, acting as a DC battery and a container, developing self-regulation. And fourth process, maturity, is reached when the person relies on their own AC power source. For example, creativity, grounding, social interaction, and other independent sources. Mental disorders can be seen as distortions in energy flow. Low voltage motivation may lead to apathy, burnout, or depression. Excessive resistance caused by trauma, stress, or negative thoughts patterns can block mental energy, resulting in confusion, overwhelm, or lack of focus. Imbalanced current may reflect cognitive fatigue or poor decision-making. Based on the voltage-resistance balance, all psychoemosomatic patterns fall into 4 broad categories. The different combination of voltage and resistance can result in many different conditions. For example, anxiety is an energetic state of high emotional pressure, voltage, with low regulation, resistance, causing sudden surges like panic attacks. At its core, anxiety reflects weak self-regulation and lack of internal safety. Therapy. While action can ease symptoms, lasting relief comes from building emotional boundaries and regulation skills. Depression. Depression is an energetic state of low voltage motivation and high resistance inhibition, marked by repressed impulses and blocked emotional flow. Internalized self-criticism and unprocessed emotions lead to rigidity, stagnation, helplessness, and fatigue. Unlike anxiety's overwhelm, depression involves shutdown, where even basic survival responses may fade. The rigid inner critic becomes a barrier to action and express. Therapy. While expression definitely helps, those with depression often can't act due to high resistance. Therapy begins by softening resistance, for example, using medication and working with inner critic, allowing emotional energy to flow and restore motivation. Responses. The flight, fight, freeze, and fawn responses also can be mapped using the framework of voltage and resistance. Causes. The manifestation of psychopathology is caused by the process of a disrupted or split flow of energy, which occurs as a result of an interrupted movement. Such an interruption may appear in different forms. Despite the varying nature of the disruption processes, the primary objective of the therapeutic intervention is to facilitate the release of repressed psychoemosomatic charge and to restore the energy flow. The ultimate objective is the integration of learned experience into everyday life. In energy-based psychotherapy, the simplest and most effective method is to focus on the area of highest emotional charge and follow the flow. Emotional charge is the most hot spots seen in behavior and language, reveals core issues and guides intervention. Conclusion. Just as an electrical circuit requires balance and minimal resistance for optimal operation, a balanced mental state allows for the free flow of thoughts, emotions, and actions, leading to better mental well-being. Therapeutic work aims to optimize this balance. Using Ohm's law as a model, mental health is seen as a balance of voltage, motivation, current, energy flow, and resistance, boundaries. The utilization of fundamental terminology from the school curriculum in physics serves to simplify and elucidate the intricate nature of personality dynamics. The therapist and the patient are becoming more aware of complex, interconnected, and underlying psychological processes. The identification of underlying issues before they manifest can prevent traumatic experiences and facilitate earlier interventions, as well as a reduction in the severity of psychological and mental disorders. Including energy processes in psychological practice and applying energy-oriented psychotherapy improves the theoretical and practical sides of therapy, making it more effective, transparent, and personalized for people seeking mental health support and personal development.